Hi there, if you're new to my channel, my name is Natalie B. Welcome. And if you're not new and you're returning, thank you for coming back. So today we will be doing a easy, simple purple smoky eye. So I'm going to teach you the technique. What I would say is I did use a loose pigment, so there was a little trial and error, but I do give you pointers if you're using a regular eyeshadow palette. But anywho, if you are interested on how I achieve this look, please continue to watch the video. You're gonna like, and you're also gonna subscribe to my channel, please, and thank you. And you're also gonna hit the bell for future notifications for when I upload. And you're also gonna share this video. Very simple, I promise. Okay, so off camera, I already prepped my skin and my eyes. As far as my eyes, I use the Louise eyeshadow base as my primer in shade 4. There we go. And when I apply that eyeshadow base, I like to use my ring finger, put some of the base on my eyelid, and I pretty much blend it out with this semi-dense shader brush. And once I'm done with that, I'll set it with a translucent powder. And today I happen to use the CoverGirl Clean Professional translucent medium powder, so it has like a little bit of a tint. Anywho, and I pretty much use the same shader brush to set my eyes. And the reason why I set my eyes is because my eyes tend to crease. It's an optional step. I just like to do it because it's going to ensure that my eyeshadow does not crease as much. It's gonna crease a little bit, but at least with that step, it's just gonna do a little bit versus a lot. So we shall start off with the smoky eye tutorial. So with the smoky eye, it's pretty much just a technique. It's not specifically a color. So you can use any color and make it a smoky eye. So smoky eye is pretty much about having your eyeshadow saturated more so at the eyelid, and as you blend it out upwards, it's pretty much kind of gives you a little bit of an ombre effect. And if you want to, you can incorporate multiple colors in a smoky eye, or you could do something really basic and do one color. So it's just all about blending it out, and that's pretty much how you get a smoky eye. So today, I'll be using a loose pigment from Omas Cosmetics. Over here, it's purple. Kind of want it to be, you know, a little funky. I really don't use a lot of purples, and I'm kind of trying to do different things as far as like makeup and just showing that I'm a well-rounded artist, and at the same time, just use colors that I don't normally do because why not, you know? Anyway. So I'm going to use this purple pigment, and I'm gonna grab another shader brush. Even though I could still use a shader brush. You know what? I'm gonna just use a shader brush. So with loose pigments, they are very messy because they are loose. That's why if you're gonna do a smoky eye with a loose pigment, it's better to do the eyes first. Okay, so I took a generous amount and put it on my brush, as you can see, and I'm literally just going to press that on the eyelid. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're gonna blend it out anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna probably add a little bit more because I want it to be super vibrant. And I'm definitely gonna, as you can see, I already got fallout. And it's okay because I didn't do complexion yet. Like I said, working with loose pigments, it's a gamble because it's super, super messy. It's all right, I'm gonna get some micellar water for that later. And I'm gonna start to blend upwards. So I'm gonna be using the Morphe M33 brush to blend upwards. And you see that add some more purple. That's just me tapping off the excess if you heard that noise. I think I'm gonna also mix this pigment with a pressed eyeshadow from the Norvina, one of the Norvina palettes. Which volume is this one? This is volume 1, the Pro Pigment Purple palette. Just to ensure that I don't spend too much time today with this. So I'm gonna grab A3 on the palette, which is up here. It's like the closest purple to this. I lied. It's A2, not A3. And then let's blend that upward. As you can see, when you begin to blend it upward, the color the color becomes softer and kind of almost disappears. Like, I don't know how it's looking on camera. It's still here in person, but it's super, super light. So we're just gonna keep applying that purple and building up that purple, because we want this look to be, we want the eye to be really, really saturated. And literally pressing this pigment on. Because we want that color payoff. So I'm still pressing on the loose pigment onto the eyelid. Plus it's getting all over my face versus on my eye. But you see this fallout is bananas. It's like I have a purple face. Okay. I'm gonna pick up A2 from the Anastasia palette. Put that on the lid. Again, we're blending upwards. Also going back and forth between the Anastasia, the Norvina Volume 1 palette and the Omas Cosmetic loose pigment. I'm just reinforcing the color because there are certain areas where it looks like the pigment was gone. So this is just, honestly, it's a lot simpler with a pressed eyeshadow, not gonna lie to you. The only reason I'm using the loose pigment is because I love the color payoff. But yeah, it's definitely a lot easier with your traditional pressed powder, like pressed eyeshadow. So I don't want you guys thinking that, oh no, I'm not about to do this. All of these steps. No, it's really not like this. Purple all over me. It's usually not this complicated. It's just the product that I'm using. But again, just like, you know, like using just raw pigment sometimes, like the eyeshadow slaps. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it slaps. It's work, but it slaps. So every single time I'm pressing onto my eye, it's the loose pigment. I'm just making sure that the lid is super saturated. So reinforcing that pigment, the purple pigment. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna leave the purple alone and I'm going to incorporate kind of like a magenta color just to blend out the edges. And I'm gonna use this Precise Blending Brush by Luxie. It's a 243 brush. And on the Anastasia, well, the Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1, I'm gonna use B1, this color. Oops. Right here, I'm gonna use this color. So like I said, it's a magenta color. Just to blend out the edges. With the pigment and the eyeshadow palette. So I'm just going back and forth just to see, just to get the desired saturation that I need. And this, my friends, is pretty much a basic smoky eye. Okay. I'm just going to clean up some things. It's on. This is a basic smoky eye. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to finish up the eye and my face, and I will be back and you will see the completed look with this basic smoky eye. Okay, so I did most of the smoky eye off camera, cleaned up some things. What I will say is it's easier to use your ring thumb when you're using a loose pigment. And I'm gonna insert a clip of when I completed my left eye off camera. It was much more easier applying that loose pigment with my ring finger. Obviously, if it was like a pressed powder, a brush would be more ideal, but you saw how I would put on the pigment, and then as I was blending, it would pretty much lose some of its saturation, and I would go again and reapply with the shader brush. It's much more easier using your ring finger when using a loose pigment. Okay, so like I said, right now most of the smoky eye is done. Now with smoky eyes, you can keep it like this, where it would just be a basic smoky eye, and then you would do drop shadow on the underneath your eye. Or you can jazz it up by adding a little bit of inner corner highlight, or like a brow bone highlight. Sorry, that was my mirror. Or you can even add like a little bit of shimmer on your lid. So it's pretty much up to you. Today, how I'm feeling. How am I feeling? I think I'm gonna add some shimmer and some inner corner highlight. Okay, so I'm like looking at the palette. I'm trying to figure out what shimmer is calling my name. I think I might do C3 in the palette. C3 is over here. Oh, let me get some focus. Yes, C3 is right here. So I think I'm gonna do that like on the lid of the eye. Right now I'm thinking about, you know what, I'm gonna use my finger. I'm not even gonna pick up a brush because it's gonna lift the pigment without a doubt. So I'm going to apply it with my ring finger. Pick up some more. I don't know if I like it, but I'm just gonna add it all. I'm gonna drag it upwards. I'm not the biggest fan, but at this point I gotta commit. I guess when I add an inner corner highlight, I could like it a little bit better. We shall see, but right now, I'm not really feeling it. Damn, I should have picked a different shimmer. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Again, this is much easier using your finger since pretty much I've used loose pigments with this tutorial. If I was just using shadow straight out of this palette, you know, the brush would have been ideal, but then you could still use your fingers because this is like a pressed pigment type of situation. But, you know, sometimes you don't always need a brush, you know? Okay, whatever. I do not like it, but we are here and we must commit. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick an inner corner highlight, and I'm a little mortified because I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna do E1, which is down here. Is this in focus? Yes, E1. As the inner corner highlight. like I said, this is optional. You can just keep your smoky eye matte, and it would just be like, that would be like your traditional smoky. Okay, maybe this inner corner highlight is helping this eye out a little bit. Okay. And then, actually, add a little bit more on this eye, because I feel as if this eye is popping a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so after the inner corner highlight, I'm going to highlight the brow bone up here. And I'm highlighting it with the same color that I used for the inner corner highlight. Okay, I'm just gonna grab one of my blending brushes, clean it. My precision blending brush, just going to clean that. The color switch, which is this guy over here. So blend these shadows. Okay. And that's how, another way you can jazz up your smoky eye if you don't necessarily want to keep it just flat, matte. You can always incorporate some shimmers to, you know, make it cute. So I'm going to add some drop shadow really quickly, and we are going to end this tutorial. Now with the drop shadow, I am not gonna mess around with the loose pigment. I'm using the shadows out of the Norvina Volume 1 palette. And I'm picking up A3 and A2. Those are the purples that are very, very similar to what I already have on my lid. And I'm just applying them with the precision blending brush from Luxie, the 243 brush. Okay, and then now I'm going to add some liner to define the eyes on the bottom. Okay, and that, my friends, is how you do a basic smoky eye. So this is the completed look. Tell me what you think. Hopefully this was an easy, simple tutorial for you. A smoky eye is pretty much simple. The only thing that I would say that you could take away from, if you do decide to use a loose pigment like I did, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but if you do, just use your ring finger so you can get your desired saturation versus using a brush, because you end up having to work way more. So just use your fingers. Now if you're using your traditional eyeshadow press palette, use a brush. And if you want to, you can always jazz up your smoky eyes with shimmers like I did. I did a little bit of shimmer on the lid, inner corner highlight, and brow bone highlight. That's optional if you want to just keep your smoky eye just plain old basic and you just want to work with one color. By all means, you could do that, or if you want to incorporate other colors, you can also do that. Just make sure the whole point of a smoky eye is most of the saturation is on your lid, and pretty much as you go upwards, it's less saturated and it kind of gives you an ombre effect, okay? Hopefully you stayed this long, and if you did, you might as well subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it, and if you did stay this long, you're the real MVP. And until next time, bye guys.